Raymond Brainiac and Miss Jingles the Cabbit were like the first cartoon characters that I almost suddenly drew it of my early years, back in 2011 and 2012. And I started to do like doodling art after my work of high school and middle school. High school. I've started with my doodling art after the segments of any subjects that I have after class from high school, and then I realized something. I began to started with my drawing enough from after graduation from high school. What exactly the things that remind me when kids can behave like little children? Raymond does sometimes, he behaves like a little kid sometimes. Well, not like childish games. Sometimes he always likes to play time with Miss Jingles the Cabbit. Yep. But at both, sometimes they wanted to play along and play time with each other, like little children, and like brothers and sisters. They play with each other. Yeah, they can play to each other like little children. Yeah, they do that because it gives them a bit of a right thing to know something when it belongs to with their behavior. Because if they can do something, because the kids can play with each other, and then they can play nice. They can play nice and be harmful. Okay. Well, they can be harmed. Well, I have suddenly been made it up here. And so that way I could just make it to look like a kids cartoon show. That may reminded me of Daffy Duck and Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah. And even like the Powerpuff Girls. Yeah. That was the way I've seen things like this when I was a kid. And I just realizing I would just tell the animator who wanted to work at Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, whose name is Jabril Marks, and he worked at the animation club at the Alpharetta High School as a director of the animation. He usually worked on like any other cartoon shorts. I could even try not to tell him about it. And I've really forgotten about that. It was a bit of a big struggle enough from high school. And so it was exhausting. It was really exhausting. And then it made me feel pretty destroyed physically. So I knew that when I had seen Cartoon Network before in the studio, so I tried to figure this out here. So I would rather like to work on it and then try to make it look like a cartoon. And so I thought I liked it. So Cartoon Network was already been fine enough here in the studio here at in the city of Atlanta. It's rather than to look like California. Well, probably look more like California. Yeah. I could rather decided not to make one of my adventure stories that's compared with the imagination of like children, like childlike imagination. Whatever I can make up with my stories. I'd rather like to do something is that I like to wrote it and then just wrote up with my stories, and I could rather like to make up for the stories about Raymond and Miss Jingles and little girl named Anne. That they also liked trains jobs like house painting and dishwashing. Yeah, that could be like kind of fun. So I would try to make it up with my future, and I would try to make up things with my life. Think of something with my films, animation, and a lot of things with my stories, and I'm gonna do like voice acting. First, I'm gonna have to find out if the girl could do like voice acting up behind like Miss Jingles and Anne. Anna Banana, well, she reminded me of the little girl who likes to play peekaboo at me when I was about 12 years old. Well, it just planted up in my mind. And so, there you have it. I would rather make up for my stories, my cartoons, and my film styles here of my work.